What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte. It is the first Thursday of the month, and I cannot believe it is September already. We're already starting to have the 75-degree early mornings, and then in the afternoon, it's still getting 80s and 90s. So it's kind of crazy, but it's always that adjustment period. These trees behind me, everything is going to start to get very interesting, and I'm going to have to start pulling out the old line that I always say during the fall and winter anytime I'm helping buyers. Hey, if you see all these trees right here, there's no leaves, so there's no privacy. You can see all your neighbors and things like that. But right now, as soon as the leaves start falling, it's honestly kind of the best time to drive around, because you're going to notice neighborhoods that you've never noticed before. You're going to notice houses that you've never noticed before. And just be rest assured, when springtime rolls back around, you're going to get a lot more privacy. Behind me is South Park Mall and all office buildings. When I do the next live, once all the leaves are down, you're going to be able to see all of it. But as of right now, not. But I see we have 5 people on here, guys. Any and all questions, very much welcome. Market is kind of exciting for myself personally. I am doing a lot of calling to off-market properties, finding houses, and I've actually submitted 2 offers on 2 different houses in the last 3 weeks. So I'm very excited to see what I hear back, if I get any feedback, if I get any acceptance and things like that. And we got another appointment we're going on this weekend for. I haven't seen the house, obviously. I've only seen it from the exterior, but I love the location. So I'm excited to see what happens with that one. But other than that, it's just, it's fun times, to say the least. A lot of opportunities for buyers out there. Don't get me wrong, houses are still priced relatively high. It's not, super cheap or anything, but there is opportunities to be had out there. I'm seeing some decent price drops on some houses, and when they do happen, they end up selling rather quickly. So it's fun. It's exciting to see what's happening. The whole interest rate talk about interest rates coming down, which they will. But the market report will come out next week, where I'm going to dive a lot deeper into the data and what I think is going to happen, because I actually changed my mind on a couple things, so I'm excited about that. But if none of you guys have any questions right now, I can just go ahead and hop into some of these questions that I received on some of the YouTube videos here. But like I said, I'm here to answer anything I possibly can for you. So just, leave the question there. Johnny Robinson, on the market report from 2 months ago, Johnny Robinson, yeah, Wall Street was buying up all the inventory. Yeah, Wall Street was buying up all the inventory, paying more than what was being asked for, which is how we got all these crazy high prices. A buyer would be crazy to buy in this current market. If they buy with these ridiculously high prices, when selling later, they will have a ton of negative equity. Yeah, Johnny, you never know. But yeah, it's 100% one of the reasons that the prices did go up, because a lot of these big investment companies, these $100 million, multi-billion dollar companies, were taking houses from people right underneath them. It's interesting, and it kind of makes me nervous at the same time, because you look at some other countries, how the government handles real estate, and I'm not completely sure that it's impossible to happen, but I'm honestly worried that in the next 20 to 30 years, possibly even sooner, that America in general will become a country of renters. There's going to be a lot more renters than there currently is, and a lot less people to afford the real estate. So it's one of those things, to be honest with you, that kind of drives me personally as far as my real estate investing and accumulating properties, because I think it's a real thing that could happen, because if something like that did happen, then the powers that be, the people that own the houses, aka the government, they dictate all of the pricing. Not only do they dictate rents, but they'll dictate home sales prices, because they own everything. So it's something I think about often. I don't lose any sleep over it, because I think it's very, very far away, but I do not want, the country to be a nation of renters. One of my favorite things is you're able to buy real estate. Me as an immigrant coming to the United States and things like that, it's the American dream is buying a house, and it'd be a shame if something like that had happened. Does the loss of the Silver Line, Ray B, does the loss of the Silver Line rail affect home prices in Oakhurst, Cotswold, down to Matthews? Any negative consequences? Ray, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Cotswold, Matthews, the Oakhurst area, you know this by now. The new Mora area, which is right above Cotswold, they're very much high demand, and they were in demand a long time ago. Cotswold, depending on how you look at it, I personally consider Cotswold like a part of South Park. So all of those areas, very much high demand. The demand is not going anywhere because of them not wanting to extend that silver rail line and things like that. There's always been investors in the area, but there's really no investor that I personally know or person looking to buy a primary house for themselves that said, hey, I have to buy in this area because I'm banking on the silver line being built in the next 10 to 15 years and my home values are going to go up. In the next 10, 15 years, no matter what, your home value is going to go up, especially in these areas. So really good question, but no, I don't think the silver line, not running through those areas is going to affect home prices at all. Because if you look at the current prices, I mean, they're up there, and the area is in very high demand, all those areas, especially Cotswold. Cotswold is one of those places where you have these small brick houses, 12 to 1,500 square feet, and people are tearing them down and they're building $2 to $3 million homes, and it's happening all over the place. But definitely a good question. This silver line, all these different lines and modes of transportation that Charlotte's trying to do, just take everything with a grain of salt. They were pushing for this stuff a while back. Now it's back. Then they reject it. Then it comes back. We don't know what's going to happen with the economy. We don't know what's going to happen with the property taxes and things like that, with grants, all sorts of stuff. So even though the silver rail line might be off for the moment, it's something that could always jump back into the picture in the next year or two. To be honest, I'm not a person that takes the light rails and stuff like that, but I can definitely see how super convenient it is. I was just in the university area yesterday showing my client a condo, and the condo building was right across the street from the rail line. And there was all these shops, like a Billy's Boardwalk is over there and all that stuff. And I was like, damn, this is like super convenient. Like if you lived in this condo, it's nice, and 90+% of people have to own a car in the Charlotte area because everything's so spread out. But I was thinking, man, I mean, where this condo is located, you don't even need to own a car. You could just take the light rail everywhere. You can go to Noda, you can go to Uptown, you can go to South End, and the rest of the stuff you have all over here. So the light rail obviously is super beneficial no matter where you kind of put it. But at the end of the day, I still think a majority of the people will be, driving in their cars. The light rail is great. It's going to help transportation. It's going to help the people coming from places like Chicago, New York, and things like that to maybe, get adjusted or things like that. But I don't think it's a make it or break it for Charlotte. We're doing just great with what we currently have. And, like I said, not a make it or break it. The Architect, hi Sasha. Mooresville made the headlines for the New York Post online for fastest growing in all of North Carolina. Yes, sir. I just read that article a couple days ago, actually. And it's interesting because the article said the fastest growing city in all of North Carolina with houses under 500,000. Don't get me wrong, Mooresville has houses that are under $500,000, but a majority of them are not under $500,000. So the article is interesting. I'd have to take a look back at it and kind of see exactly what it said. But, from my personal experience, clients I've worked with and things like that, everybody that I've worked with that's looking to live in Mooresville, I mean, they're $700,000-800,000 plus. They're trying to buy the nice houses with the big lots because there's a lot of houses with really big lots. I mean, great neighborhoods. So it's interesting. I would fact check the data because I don't think you can, under 500,000. You're not going to get a super nice house or something like that for $400,000 in Mooresville because it is a great area. a great location, lake access, very family friendly. People like the schools. It's just all around a great area. So the New York Post might want to, fact check some of the prices. But yeah, I read that article. It's always nice when you see a place like Mooresville or anything like that, making it to kind of these effects. And you all know this because of some of the videos I've made and potentially some other videos you watch, but Charlotte and the surrounding areas have been in demand for quite a long time. And, now some of these other smaller areas are starting to get a lot more recognition. Winston-Salem, Greensboro, even places in South Carolina, they're starting to pop up because the growth there is happening just as much as it is here in Charlotte. And as opposed to Charlotte, a place like Winston-Salem or Greensboro, you can find probably a nice single family home in that $300,000 to $450,000 range. So it's really nice. And if you're somebody that's looking for like a small town feel, if you don't want to be in the big city like Charlotte, there's so many different areas around here. The Architect, very sought after area. Yeah, Mooresville is great. I like Mooresville. I've only rented a boat twice, I think, like on Lake Norman and stuff like that. But the place where I usually rent a boat at, I believe they're in Mooresville. Really cool place. Really cool place. And it's starting to get a little chilly. I might have to wait for the boat for next year. RJ Spain, my appraiser friend. Hi, Sasha. Have you heard anything about the property tax issues in Texas where there are claims of property taxes being unjustly increased? Sounds like trouble may be brewing. RJ, no, I didn't hear about any of that stuff. It's interesting because certain situations are happening all over the country. Texas, from my experience, Texas, people used to say like, when everybody was moving all over the place and things like that, people were like, oh, Texas real estate. And even now, if you go on social media, if you go on the internet and you type in, what can I buy for $500,000 in this certain city in Texas, they'll show you like these big, beautiful mansions that would be like $2-3 million here in Charlotte. Granted, they might be in the middle of nowhere, but property taxes in Texas have always been high, so now, I mean, I don't know anything about this situation, but I'm not surprised that they're increasing the taxes with the influx of people moving here and with the increase in prices nationwide. It's the government, it's the city, it's the state. They want their tax money. So if they can increase property taxes and make more money on taxes, it's something they're going to do. It's happening here in Charlotte. But, you mentioned unjustly increase. Here, it's relative, I guess. One thing that some people don't know is if you feel that your house here in the Charlotte area, the surrounding counties or something like that, if you feel like your property tax assessment is way too high and you don't feel that your home is worth that much, what you can do is you can get an appraisal done or you can do a BPO, which is a broker priced opinion, essentially like a realtor, opinion, and you can dispute the claim. Because what we have happening in Charlotte is there's so many neighborhoods where they're tearing a house down, they're building a multi-million-dollar house, or certain neighborhoods are getting completely renovated, and then you have certain people that just aren't touching their houses. House hasn't been renovated in 20 or 30 years. And they are being charged what those other renovated and new build construction houses are in the area. So in order to fight that, you need to just make a claim and say, hey, listen, I know there's a couple, $1 million homes that were built in my neighborhood, but my home isn't $1 million home. Come take a look at it. This is the appraisal. This is the broker priced opinion, and get your property taxes adjusted. Unfortunately, it's happening to a lot of older people. Older people don't potentially know they can do this, and they are typically the ones at the most risk because they're retired, they're on Social Security, and now you have their property taxes, their insurance, and just normal cost of living going up. And, I think we're going to see some people struggling, unfortunately, that are going to, have to sell their homes. RJ, you know this because I know you sent me that email about the tax delinquent properties. Nothing's changed, my friend. I mean, ever since I started noticing the tax delinquencies, I can't remember when I made that video. It was probably 6 to 8 months ago. But ever since I noticed a lot of the tax delinquencies happening here in Charlotte, it hasn't stopped. You know, it keeps popping up. And now because property taxes just went out again, September, October, they're going to be due. We're going to see a lot more because people aren't going to be able, certain people are not going to be able to pay them, unfortunately. And we're going to see tax delinquent, tax delinquent, tax delinquent. And then we'll see, do they make up the taxes? Are they not able to afford it? They put the house on the market and things like that. RJ Spain, I am busiest right after assessment time. Exactly, you're an appraiser. So if somebody thinks their home isn't, there's not too many people wanting their property tax value to be higher because they're gonna have to pay more. But you know, for the people that are, you know, combating those property tax assessments, you know, they're reaching out to appraisers like RJ. At what point is it going to break, people? Good question. You know, a good question. Even if it quote unquote break, I think we're going to see relief in the housing market. We're starting to see it. You know, if you've seen the last couple of market report videos I've done, inventory's going up. Buyers are still buying, houses are still moving. Do not get me wrong, but the new listings just keep outweighing the pending sales and outweighing the demand. That's why you're having so many houses sit here. I can't tell you the amount of houses that I'm seeing that are on the market right now that are nice homes and they're sitting on the market. It's so crazy. And especially for me, because I went from the second half of 2020 to up until about early of 2023 being the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life, because every home that was getting put on the market was getting multiple offers and people were paying stupid prices, waiving inspections, waiving appraisals, doing everything possible. And now to see that that has completely flipped, and a lot of these houses would have sold with multiple offers and a lot over asking price at the time. Now to see that it's flipped this way is just so eye-opening to me. And I don't forget stuff like that. So it's interesting. It's interesting. RJ saying charges that Denton is valuating higher than market in lawsuits against taxing bodies. I will send you the link. Yeah, RJ, send me that link. I appreciate it. The architect, I have 2 new houses under 350,000 that have sat there for 4 months now in my development. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You know, it's night and day, but it's happening so slow. It's happening so slow that one day we're just gonna wake up and it's gonna be like, what the hell happened to the housing market? How did this catch me off guard? But it's happening as we speak, man. My neighborhood used to have 1 house for sale every 2-3 months. Right now we have, I can't remember how many are under contract, but there's over 6 houses, and I believe 3 or 4 of them are active on the market. They've been on the market for 30 plus days easily. There's one of them that's been on the market for close to 80. So it's so interesting. You know, I don't know, a lot of people use Zillow. I don't know if Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com, if you can like go back to, you know, for example, go back to 2022, you know, between X amount of months and see how many houses were for sale in your neighborhood in 2022 in whatever month, and then go to present day, go to the same neighborhood and go to the same month and see what it says. It's just, it's for me, it's mind boggling, you know, but like I said, this isn't a bad thing. And you know, when's the right time to buy? When's this and that? For everybody, it's different. At the beginning of this video, if you missed it, I submitted 2 offers on 2 different houses in the last 3 weeks. So I'm actively, you know, out here because there is some deals to be had. So, you know, at the end of the day, when it's right for you, it's right for you, you know. And I personally don't care about, for myself, I personally don't care about the real estate prices in the next 1 to 2 to 3 years, because everything I buy is going to be primary investment and I'm going to be holding it for 10, 15, 20 plus years, hopefully the rest of my life. So, you know, but it's just interesting to track, very interesting to track to say the least. The architect, what zip code are you in? I'm curious. You mentioned two houses under 350. Last month, the median price was, oh God, I can't remember now. I want to say it was just above 400,000. And the month before that, it was 410, so it's going down. But if you're able to, oh, you're in Dallas. Okay. To be honest, I don't know too much about Dallas. I know more Denver than Dallas. But yeah, in Charlotte and surrounding areas, like if you're able to buy a house within the median price point and or lower, you relatively have a nice little cushion, if house prices were to come down. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the higher end of the market, but we're starting to see that big difference of, hey, I have money, and then, hey, I'm, struggling to kind of get by. So I'm wondering if something's eventually going to flip where some people, that are buying these multi-million dollar houses potentially can't afford them, but I really don't see that happening just because it's, one of those the rich get richer things, but interesting. Any and all questions, guys, drop them below, please. But the fact that this summer was so slow, it just didn't feel like summer. It really did not feel like summer. And now we're hitting September. I'm curious to see, what's going to be going on. But right now, for me personally, this is buying season. This is buying season, man. I do a good amount of business from September to February, March. I love this time of year because according to the data, prices go down. Inventory, yes, technically goes down, but we haven't seen inventory slow down these last couple of months. So I think comparing year over year, I think we're going to have more new listings coming to the market during this fall and winter period than we did last year. And I'm excited about it. Only full riding. We had a full price offer after 3 days on the market, fell through due to an insane buyer. Now back on the market and reduced quite a bit. Getting a lot of activity, but no good offers. About to pull it off the market because we have a sub 3% rate and don't need to move. Yeah, it's honestly, the market isn't what it was. I know you guys, I've said that before, but you just don't know. You just don't know. People always ask me, what's going on with the market? And now I have to get in more detail about it. Well, what do you mean? On the buy side, on the sell side, on the investor side, on the condo side, on the townhouse side, what are you looking for? Because everything is just so different. You have the same exact neighborhood, one house pops up, you have multiple offers all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Then a couple weeks later, a second house goes for sale in the same neighborhood and it ends up sitting for 60 to 90 days and they have to do a $30,000 price reduction and they end up selling it for whatever, $30,000 less than they originally listed it for. And it's like, it's so weird because, right, it's all about timing. You never know when the right buyer for your house is on the market. So it's just interesting. I had somebody call me a couple of months ago and they had interviewed me to sell their house for them. I told them, I went in, I showed them the comps, I looked around the house. It was a nice house, but it was nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary that would warrant more money than what the comps were selling for. And they ended up not choosing me as their realtor. I saw the house pop up on the market roughly about, I don't know, almost a month later or something like that. $75,000 more than what I told them we should hit the market for because they said they wanted to be aggressive with pricing and get it sold within 30 days. That house sold. Listen, it ended up selling, but it was on the market for over 90 days and they ended up taking 50,000 less than what it was listed for. And obviously they didn't hit their timeline. They called me after a month or two when it was sitting on the market and they're like asking me for advice. I'm like, I met with you when you wanted to sell the house. I gave you the advice to get the house sold within a potential multiple offer situation, maybe even getting more, than the listed price, and you being able to close in your time frame of the 30 days that you wanted. You hired somebody else. Go, they're going to help you. And they just made a mistake, because they lost another opportunity that they had in Pennsylvania. They had their eye on another house. They were moving forward. It was a new construction house. They had to pull out of that new construction deal because they couldn't get the funds that they had. They had they had a contingency that they would have all of this money. Essentially, they couldn't buy their new house unless this house sold, and they had a contingency in their new construction contract that they needed to have the house sold within 60 days or something. So they were like, hey, we want to get it sold in 30. They ended up losing that house. So yeah, it's just interesting, but again, there's a price. There's a price for every house where you can sell within the first couple of days, within the first week. Then there's a price where you can sell within the first month. Then there's a price where you can sell within a couple months. Nothing's guaranteed, but you always have those options. Most of the area west of Charlotte has not been hit like the north, south, and east. I like Kings Mountain, but now with the casino approval, I'm rethinking. No, that's interesting. I mean, to be honest with you, the north, it's kind of moving. It really just depends on the situation. But I was just in 28269 zip code today. 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 16 or 1700 square feet, roughly under 350, and it was a nice house. So extremely good price for the 28269 zip code, being it has everything. If you're an investor and you have to put down at least 20%. But if you're an investor, you put down 100, 120 plus $1,000, you're cash flowing right off the bat. Great zip code, great house. That's why I tell people there's deals and stuff to be had out there, but it's a hit or miss as far as kind of what areas. The South, to be honest with you, I haven't seen much price decreases. There's a good amount of houses that are sitting on the market for a long time that I keep looking at. I'll tell you guys right now, since we're just us two are talking. There's a house that popped up in Stonehaven. It's hitting the market, I believe, this weekend. It is priced at $689,000, and it's a beautiful house. I almost fell in love with it through the pictures, so that means I am not allowed to go see it in person because I might do something stupid and submit an offer in on it. So I'm staying away from that house, but there's a lot of nice houses sitting for a while. I have an Instagram, QC Home Group. I'm going to start doing kind of like a series of essentially houses that are really nice, that are still sitting on the market for whatever reason. I might do some comps and things like that. Architects, LOL. Yeah, man, I can't, I'm trying to be disciplined, and I'm trying to find the off-market house. And I force myself not to see certain homes because I know my emotions are going to get the best of me and I'm going to want to buy it. And that house in particular, beautiful, amazing. I don't want to be put in that position to buy a $700,000 house right now. Not with all the uncertainty in the economy, with the relative uncertainty, in the real estate market. I don't want to do that to myself. I'd feel a lot more comfortable at a lower price point. Shakradar, I live in Indian Land, South Carolina. I purchased the home 6 months ago. Can I sell after 6 months purchase? What are the drawbacks? I'm sorry to hear that you lost your job. The good news is you are in Indian Land, which is very much a desirable area. So the market's still moving over there. I mean, the biggest drawback is, if you do make a profit, you're going to be looking at capital gains tax. The second biggest drawback is what is going to be your listing price. Because everybody's going to see that you bought the house 6 months ago. They're going to see what you bought it for. The market has been relatively flatlined and even relatively going down in certain areas. So that's going to be your biggest drawback. Potential buyers are going to see what you bought the house for 6 months ago. They're going to want to know why you're selling so soon, and if you're looking to sell above what you got it for, depending on if you've done anything to it and things like that, that's going to be your biggest drawback. Other than that, people are buying in Indian land. Indian land's a very high in demand area. Not sure what type of house you have. Feel free to reach out to me if you want my opinion. Send me an email. All my contact information's below, or send me a text message. I can definitely chat with you, take a look at the house, and give you some recommendations on that end. But I would say that's kind of the biggest drawback is you bought it 6 months ago. People know exactly what you paid for it, and some people just out of principle might say, hey, I don't want to pay for this. So getting the house ready, marketing it right, you might be able to do something. I'm sorry you lost your job though, man. It's happening a lot nowadays. Evgeny, my friend, how are you? Every time I drive past Curitan, because I'm in Waxhaw, not often, but I'm there a couple of times a month. I always want to stop by, but I know, I know you work from home. I don't want to bother you guys. Evgeny, Curitan's a very desirable area. Waxhaw is a great area. I always recommend it if people are looking for, safe, family-friendly, small-town feel, good location to Charlotte. So your neighborhood is amazing. Curitan is an amazing neighborhood. And you have the hospital right there. You have all the shopping within 5 minutes right up Providence Road. You have the downtown Waxhaw, which a lot of that area is also being developed. So I'm not surprised, Looking back, when I was helping you, I should have bought a house in the neighborhood myself, but everything was so competitive. I don't know if I'm ready I need to have a kid before I move to Waxhaw. It's too family friendly for me. I just have the dog. I'm going to stop by one day. I'm going to text you and I'm going to stop by. Architect, got to run. Have a good one, Sasha. See you next time. Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Mason NC just moved here from SoCal. Not that different in pricing, but you do get more so long as you love HOA fees. If you're talking about Southern California, I don't know where in Southern California you were living in. I don't think you can compare the prices here, but it's interesting because people, if you don't know Charlotte, you naturally gravitate towards the most high in demand areas. If you don't know Charlotte, you're hanging around uptown, you're here in South Park, and you're driving around and you're in a neighborhood and you're like, oh, this neighborhood's cute, and you're thinking, what are these houses? $400,000 or $500,000, and then you look it up and it's $1.2 million for a teardown. So it's interesting, but yeah, I don't know much about California or SoCal, but I can't imagine that the prices compare, here to Charlotte, unless you are looking at, if you're looking at, Dilworth, if you're looking, in those types of areas, then I can see the prices matching up. But even then, I don't think you're comparing apples to apples with location, and potential house and square footage and things like that. One of the things, so the market report's going to come out next week. We'll see kind of what's going on. But I've always said that if we see a big drop in interest rates, we'll see the market completely shift and we'll start to see the home prices, start to skyrocket. To be honest with you, I've kind of changed my mind on that. Without a doubt, there will be a lot more activity. A lot more buyers would come off the sidelines. The market would 100% pick up. I just don't think it'll pick up to the level that it was from late 2020 up until about 2023. At the end of the day, for a starter home, depending on location, it's so high. And I put this in a comment in one of my videos. There's only so many people that are willing to pay $30,000 for a Honda Accord. If you get what I'm saying. They used to be brand new, $20,000. And what I'm trying to say is at a certain level, at a certain point, it just doesn't make sense for people. And obviously the people that are kind of feeling these prices the most is the first-time home buyers. It's sad. It's almost like you need to be super well established. It's almost like you need to be 35 plus years old, have a full-blown career, making good money in order to afford a starter home. So in that sense, it's kind of sad. But I'm interested to see. But if the rates do come down, I know some sellers and things like that want to stay in the Charlotte area, and they're like, yeah, once the rates come down, I might consider listing my house as long as I can buy something else. But right now, a lot of my past clients and things like that, they just have really low locked in rates, so it's kind of tough to compare. All right, guys, if we don't have any more questions, I appreciate all you guys watching. Another market report next month, but the monthly market report is coming out next week, so be sure to watch that. I'm very excited to see what new listings are, very excited to see pending sales, very excited to see months of inventory. There is a lot of nice real estate on the market right now that's sitting for a long time. Stop being shy. Do not be scared to offer less than the listed price of a home. You'd be surprised at how many sellers are entertaining offers. Not all, but there are a good amount that are entertaining reasonable offers. With that said, make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you guys on the next live. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye.